Welcome back, sewists. Today is going to be another pretty easy project, and I'll tell you why. I have got a lot of really complicated projects that are going to take up to weeks to work on, and I'm excited about starting those, but I'm kind of thinking about waiting until closer or after Thanksgiving because we have so much happening in the family and behind the scenes until then that it's hard for me to start something really big and complicated. So I'm going to work on a few smaller projects that help get us ready for the holidays. I have been wanting for a long time a little Japanese knot bag. They're a small little wrist bag, and the reason I want it is because I often have this large bag. I will have this linked below if you'd like to sew this up. I love this thing. This is my crochet bag. It's perfect for taking my crochet with me places, and it's great for an Afghan-sized project. But I need something for my small projects that are just one skein of yarn, like when I'm working on hats and scarves, and to take with me that's not so big and bulky. So I want a Japanese knot bag. But I've been thinking about Christmas presents too, and one of the things I love to do is to give a gift inside of a bag that could be reused, or inside of something that could be reused. One year I designed a really cute sort of Christmas toile, ordered it, and made everyone little gift bags, little drawstring bags, and put presents in them. I have that video. I'll link it below, and it'll be up here. I also have a holiday playlist if you're starting your holiday sewing. And I thought this little knot bag would be perfect to put a little gift inside, and then they have a reusable bag. So I'm going to draft a couple sizes and styles of the knot bag. Some of them are sort of square, some of them are rounded. I went online and just looked at how people are doing them and printed off a couple with their dimensions. The thing is, I can change them that's appropriate for what I need. I've pulled out a stack of scraps. So I'm going to go through this and match up bags to scraps and pieces together, and we'll just see how many little knot bags and how many different designs and sizes I can get made. This is the one that I think I want for myself. I have got lots of pretty little fabrics in here, and we'll just see what matches with what I can get sewn out of what, and we're going to make some bags today. So let's start by drafting some patterns. All right, I'm starting with the small bag. This is a 9-inch bag, so it's 9 inches wide and only 7 inches deep. All of these bags, when you're looking at it, has one long handle and one short handle. The long handle is double the length of whatever your short handle is. So I've been looking at others, and for instance, on this one, their short handle is 4 inches, and I'm doing 1/4 inch seam allowance. So I'm going to do 4.5 because I think it's just easier to work with. And then I'm going to add my 1/4 inch seam allowance on top of that. So you can see, and I'm using my little grid below. It just helps keep everything straight. So here's my seam allowance. We're going to go away. So here's my short handle. And then my long handle, since I did 4.5 on that side, it's going to be 9 on this side. You don't need to serge at all for this one. So my handles are 2 inches wide, and the long one is 9 inches long. And I will have my first little bag pattern made. And so this is what I'm considering the small bag. And the ones I don't have a whole lot of scraps out of, I can get out of this one. Now, this is very square, and all of them are curvy on the inside. So you can use a hip curve or whatever you might have. This is my mirror that I use to help me see my camera. So this is how I set up for top down, but I cannot see at all what's happening on this camera. So I have my little mirror here, and I can look in the mirror, see what's happening, and operate my camera and see where it's set up. I need to figure out how to do a little remote camera or a little remote screen on that. I know I can hook my phone to it, but I really don't want my phone hanging off of this camera up here, so I gotta work on that. That's down the road. Just thought you'd be interested in some behind the scenes. That I'm filming this on, and I'm just gonna use it because it has a nice little curvy inside line. I'm going to darken my lines a little bit. Hopefully you can see them. And then let me move my board out of the way. All right, so I'm going to move this out of the way. And hopefully you can see those lines a little better. So here's the draft of the first one. If you do not enjoy drafting patterns, if you see this as something tedious and time-consuming that does not get you to your end product at all, this is just not the part of sewing you want to do, there are a bunch of these patterns available on Etsy. They have them available for you. So I'm going to just mark on this one. I'm going to call this my 7x9. I need cut 2 of outer, cut 2 of lining. These can be 100% reversible the way these are made, so super easy. If you don't like the square edges, you could come in and curve out these edges very easily. I'm going to do a little pinch on the bottom of the little, I call them cat ears, that's what I call them in sewing class, but we're going to do the cat ears that gives it a little bit of shaping on the bottom. So here is my pattern number 1, my little pattern. And now I'm going to go ahead and make another one that's bigger. So if this one was 9 inches, I think I'm going to go up to 12 inches for the next one. And I'm just going to continue to draft patterns. So I'll be back in a little bit with all of my patterns drafted so we can match our scraps to our patterns and get these cut out. Okay, I made 3 patterns. I will insert pictures here of the patterns with all the dimensions. So if you want to just stop, take a screenshot, you can copy exactly how I did it. The 3 patterns I made 2 sizes, one with a rounded end and 2 that have the squared ends, but we are going to come back and do the kitty ears, little triangle to give them shape on the bottom. So I'm now going to pull out scraps and I'm going to match scraps to bags. One bag is 9 inches wide, the other bag is 12 inches wide, one is 7 inches deep, the other one's 8 inches deep. So they're just, my goal was they would just be big enough to put a skein of yarn and the project in for myself. They are also good if I want to put a little gift inside, a little small gift. You can make these as big as or as small as you want. Again, you can also go order a pattern and skip this whole pattern drafting thing. I did 1/4 inch seam allowance. I'm going to sew these so they're reversible. Pretty much, they're going to be pretty straightforward. I'm going to show you 2 methods of putting this bag together, but you could also bias bind the handle and the openings. That's another easy way to handle this construction. So think about that too, and it could be very cute. So let's start matching fabrics to patterns. So I bought this to make the scrubs hats and didn't use it, but I think it looks really cute with this left over. So this is definitely going to be one. So I'm just going to sit and cut. It's not very exciting. If you're working with, this would work with a het canvas, this will work with your quilters cottons. If you want to have a little more shape, you could definitely interface, especially fusible, but do an interfacing behind one of your layers, especially the one that you prefer for your outer layer, and that would give you more body to give it more stability if that's something you want. So here I am laying out, and the first thing I thought is, a pocket might be nice. I've got my pattern laid out, but you can see there's this piece between the handles, and I could easily get a little pocket cut out to either go on the inside or the outside. So I definitely will be showing how to add a pocket because I'm updating the project as I go. Well, I cut out 2 of the mini bag. My regular size bag, I've got one that's going to have the kitty ears out of this really fun fabric. I cut out of the rounded one this beautiful fabric, and then I had this lovely fabric I made a long time ago, I think it's a Cynthia Rowley. It looks like this. I made a dress out of it. It's such pretty fabric. It's a border print. So I actually made a 3rd pattern that took advantage of the size of the scrap that I had, and then I'm going to line it in the gold polka dot. So I have got quite a few cut out. I've got some scraps over here to make a couple with pockets, and we're going to get sewing. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to put this together. One way you can kind of make the 2 bags and slip them together. The other way is you can do the inside curve and then make the bag part. I'm going to show you both methods because one may just be easier or make more sense to you, and it's always good to have options. There's not one way to do anything in sewing. So the first thing I'm going to do is put a pocket on one of these lining pieces. I'm going to take out my little lining and I'm going to just cut a pocket. I'm going to make my pocket first, so I'm just folding over the top edge. I'm going to give it a press. All right, so I have just folded under that top edge and I'm going to just top stitch it down. And now I'm going to fold this back this way. This is going to finish that, completely finish off, and I'm going to stitch this little corner here. Again, I'm just doing 1/4 inch for everything pretty much. This is going to do two things. It's going to help pull back for the where I'm going to top stitch the pocket on, and it's also going to help hem that edge. It's a looser weave. Now you could also bias bind this pocket and stitch it on. That would be super cute. All right, so now that I've done that, when I flip this around, now you can see how it's finished that edge off, and it's also helping to fold these edges in. So I'm going to go ahead and press this down, and I'm going to press all of my little 1/4 inches up all the way around, and then we will sew it on. Okay, so here it is pressed and ready to go. You could definitely serge around that raw edge first before you press it. I'm just going to come over here now and top stitch this on, not at a 1/4 inch, more like at an 1/8 of an inch. And what I'm doing is I'm lining up the outer edge where I folded to the inner toe of my foot. We have a pocket. You can see how it's stitched on the back side there. And the pocket's on. Isn't that cute? Okay, so now we're ready to take our other pieces. And we're going to put right sides together, and I'm going to call these things like it was a shirt. We're going to put its shoulders together. So the straps up here, we're going to put 2 long straps together for the lining and for the outer fabric. So we're going to just put these together like this. And we're just going to sew across the strap part, or the shoulder. That's how it, in my head, that's how it is. So I've got both of those pinned. All right, so there's one done. And now we're going to go over and press these little seam allowances open. But before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and sew this one. All right, let's go over and press this. Okay, before I go on to the next step, I'm going to go ahead and put a tag in. I have 2 different tags. I like the blue tag in this one, but if I'm giving it away, like this is the one I put in my own clothes usually, not always, but a lot of times. But sometimes if I'm giving it away, I tend to like to put the one that just has my name in it. So this is the tag I'm going to put in. I'm just going to put it right above the pocket. Now we're going to sew our inner circle. 2 bag parts made, and they're sewn together at the shoulder. Isn't that cute together? I just think that's so cute. We're going to open these up, and we're going to lay them on top of each other, right sides together, and we're going to put our short side to short side and long side to long side, and line them right up on that seam. I'm going to get the seam lined up first here, and we're going to sew the inner curve. I'm going to sew all the way around this inner curve. So you can see I'm lining them up. I'm going to put a few little clips to hold them together nice and tight along that edge so we don't have any slippage, because I did not give myself a lot of seam allowance. The nice thing about that is I also don't have a lot of trimming or clipping to do because I don't have a lot of seam allowance. So here it is. That's how it's going to be. One side's long, one side's short. And we're going to just sew around that inner curve all the way around. I always start at close to the seam line, so I'm going to come over here to the short seam line, and that's where I'm going to start stitching. And the big thing is just keeping those cut edges right on top of each other. All right, so we're all the way around. Now we're going to come in to these inner curves here and we're going to clip. I'm going to flip it over because it's easier for you to see how much easier it is to see that stitching now. Clip these little curves up to kind of close, but not too close. Remember, this fabric kind of frays. We just need to get this curvy area. So it releases, so it turns nicely. And then we're going to go over and press this and pull it through. Make sure you don't accidentally clip your stitches. Okay, so now that we've done all of that, we're going to go over and press it. But all we need to do first is just flip this through. So I'm going to flip it around. And I want to press this nice and smooth it along that inner edge, so we can top stitch it. How that's going to be lined. Isn't that going to be cute? Okay, so let's give this a quick press and then we're going to come over and top stitch. We're all pressed. I am going to now just top stitch around this inner edge. I have got my fabric lined up with the inner side toe of my foot. And we're ready to go. I think I've mentioned this fabric really likes to stretch. All right, we're all the way around. And now you can see how it's looking. This is the inside with the cute little pocket. So what we're going to do now is we're going to kind of separate our two pieces, and we're going to put right sides together of the bag and right sides together of the lining. Put a few clips in to hold everything together, or pins. So I am clipping on the side up to where my little curve in my lining starts. So you can see where the lining's hanging down. That's where I'm going to pin to. It's about 9 inches. I'll measure it and tell you exactly. Let's see. I am going to do the sides are going to be 9 inches. I'm going to sew it from 9 inches down. We're just going to sew around the bag. Do measure so that they're even. You want them to be exactly the same on all pieces. This is where a pin is nice because I can make it super accurate. So I'm going to put a pin in that where the 9-inch mark is. And I'm going to do that for the lining and for the outer fabric. Now we're going to do the same thing to the lining. Now this is for the larger bag, square bag, and then we're going to come back and do some kitty ears on it. All right, we're just going to go around the bottom of this bag. I'm going to start at one pin, go around and stop at the other pin. 1/4 inch, right sides together. I'm doing lining side first, but it doesn't really matter. And then I'm going to go back and do the bag sides. Both parts of the bag sewn. Okay, so there's the lining side sewn around. Now we're going to come over and do this one. It doesn't matter the order. You can do them either way. Don't forget to back stitch. All right. Now, we're going to give this a quick press, and then it's time to do kitty ears. Pull my lining apart. And what I'm doing is I'm lining up my side seam and my bottom seam. Let me press it before I do anything else because it's just going to work better. Okay, so we're taking our side seam and we're laying it on top of our bottom. So you want to make sure you press that side seam open. The bottom, it's not as essential. And once we get those lined up so the seams are on top of each other, we're measuring up 1 inch from the point, and we're going to draw across so that we get our little triangle like that. That's what we're going to stitch. We're going to stitch this triangle. I have it for both of the red sides. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the blue. You do want your side seams pressed open because when we go to finish this side of the handle, we need that to open up this way. So we don't want to sew it down so it's going one direction. We do want this to be pressed open. And then we're ready to sew. Okay, we're just going to sew our little kitty ears. You can see our little triangle here. There's one. All right, we've got kitty ears. Let's give it a haircut. Okay, now that we have all of our little kitty ears sewn on all of our pieces, we're going to come into one of the handles sides and we're just going to pull this through. It's a little like origami here. And I'm going to just push the lining down on the inside, get it lined up, flip our little handles around. Now all that's left is finishing off this part of the handle. Make sure it lines up nice, and it does. You can already see how cute the little bag is, and it fits inside there like that. So let's finish off this little part. All that we're going to do for this part is we're going to fold in both layers to each other like this. We're going to pin it or clip it and top stitch around this little circle. They should, if you measured, they should line up perfectly. So I'm just going to start putting some clips in. You can do this at the ironing board. That's always my favorite way to do everything. Iron as I go. And we have one bag done. This is method 1. As soon as we get this top stitching done. And then I will show you method 2. I kind of like method 1. We'll see after I sew this second method, which I prefer. Okay, we're all pinned together and ready to stitch. Okay, you can see how I have the 2 layers lined up. This is my side seam back here. So I'm kind of starting right at that side seam and I'm going to sew all the way around and it'll come back over to this side seam. That's how I'm setting it up. And I went ahead and stuck a pin in it because it just helps hold it together better. Again, I'm using that inside toe. I've also got my even feed foot on. Can you see how this is pulling? That is the difference between the 2 layers of fabric. That green or that blue is loose and just stretchier. See how I've got quite a bit of movement between the 2 layers. And now I'm going to kind of press this open here. And now I can come across to where I started. Whoop. Hit my foot. And we're done. And that is how our little, so now I'm going to come around and do the same thing on this side. It's going to be a lot harder on this little short side. For the short side, I've slid, you can see how I've slid that in the under the foot. So this is how it looks. And I'm going to start on this side. So this is the side that I'm lining up with the foot to sew. And I'm going to just carefully sew around this and come back to the edge like I did on this one, but it's a lot tighter, which is why I've laid it in there this way, flat like this, just to make it a little bit more manageable when I'm at the sewing machine. Do this and not knock the camera over. Whenever I need to move or adjust anything, sink that needle. Whoop. I'm going to work this in short little bursts. And I do have a pin in this end because the pin will not let it move. I'm going to move my bag and it's going to hit the camera. I'm going to switch sides because the bag's in the way. Trying to get it in close means it's in my sewing spot. And I'm just making sure I'm sealing all those stitches. And it's done. We have one completed bag. It's ready for a haircut. Okay, I got two bags made. I put them back there. I got the two navy bags made. And now I'm going to do the rounded bottom bag. I've switched to white thread, but I don't want to top stitch this in white. So I'm going to assemble in white, and then I'm going to switch and put a green on top for top stitching, so it'll have white in the bobbin and green on top for top stitching because of how this one's sewn. So last time we were together, just a minute ago, we sewed what I called the shoulders. We sewed our little straps together, which we're going to do again. So we're going to go ahead and sew our straps up here at the top, but we're also going to come down and sew around the bottom of the bag. So we're going to do that for both pieces first. And I'm going to measure and make a little mark so I know where to stop on my side seams. Let's get my ruler out. This bag is 9 inches deep. So that is how deep I'm going to make my little side seams. Now I'm doing the rounded bottom, so when I measure this, I'm not measuring, I'm measuring from the bottom here up to the 9-inch mark. So I'm going to do that for both of these, and we're going to sew the shoulder. We're going to sew the strap across the little top, and then we're going to sew around the bottom of the bag, then and press. Then we're going to come back and do the middle and the center of the strap and the outside of the strap. This is the one where I had a scrap that was 11 inches wide, so this bag is going to be an 11 by 9, about that. Let's us sew. So I'm going to come up here and just do straps at the top first. Again, I'm doing 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, now I'm going to go around the bag from my little marks that I made. So I'm just going to go around the bag so it's going to be open in the strap area. And you'll notice I'm not pinning. Everything just lays together easily. Pin if you need to. Okay, there's one. Now we're going to do this one. I have to flip it over to the side that I made the marking on. Now these round bottom ones don't have kitty ears, so we don't have another step to do if you have the ones with a little curve on the bottom. Now I'm going to press everything And then we're going to put them together. I will be pinning for the putting together part. So let me give these a quick press. And if you're having a hard time, like it's so awkward to try and press this open, that's what these little sticks like this are for. So this is a pressing stick, and you can slide this inside here and flop this out of the way, and it gives you a little raised area to press this, and it does make it a lot easier. So if you need to, get you a pressing stick. I made these. I was thinking about putting a few of these on Etsy, but I don't like the way these are made. I want to put another layer of wool over the top, so I need to get, so I'm not selling them yet, but it's not much to it. It's a half round dowel with some ironing board batting on top of it, and then I would personally put another layer of wool, which I'm going to do when I get me some good wool for that. So let's go press, and then we'll come back and do the middle part. I've pressed both items, and I have turned my lining to the right side. My other one is inside out, and I'm lining them up. So I put the lining down inside the bag. We're going to clip this together, and we're going to sew around that inner circle. So doing it this way, in method 1, when you sew around this circle, you can open it up and make it flat. If you do it this way, it's pretty fast, but you can't make it completely flat to sew it together. You're kind of sewing inside the bag a little bit. So if the bigger the bag, the easier this will be. If you're sewing with a really tiny one, it's going to be a little harder to get around. I am going to put some clips in it though, because of this method, it kind of wants to slip and pull out a little. So you can see I've got the two bags together, right sides together. We're still going to pull it through one of the little handles. So this time, instead of laying it out flat, I'm kind of working around in a circle of the bag. Main thing is you don't want to accidentally sew through the other side. Sew through a layer you didn't mean to, sew your bag shut. I've gone around the whole little bag, and it's ready to be pulled through the arm. I always do this the long side because it's just a bigger opening, a little easier to get it through. So we're going to pull this through. Look at how fun that fabric is. I have switched to green on top, white on bottom, so that when I top stitch, I'll have white on the white side and green on the top side. I did also clip around that curve. Those are all the things I did off camera, because you've seen it already with the other bag. We're ready to press this and turn in the stitching, or turn under the edges and top stitch it in. Okay, look at that. So that's my inside with the little polka dotties. I did add a little tag. So now I'm going to give this an iron, and I'm going to top stitch around the inside first, and then I'll come back and do the big curve. I'm going to top stitch around that curve. Now doing this one, with the other one we had it flat when we did our top stitching around the inside. This one we will be sewing kind of inside the circle like that, because we can't lay it flat like before. So I'll be back in just a minute. I'm going to give it a press. All right, hopefully you can see. Here's my green stitching on this side and the white on the other, and you can see how it doesn't shadow through at all. Looks great. And there's my pretty lining. I just love this fabric, and the little label on the inside. Okay, I just sewed all the way around with the camera off. Love it when that happens. So frustrated, but it's done. So here we are. I don't know how it shows in the camera, but in person with this little polka dot, this feels very designer. It's a very basic little thing, but it sure looks nice in person. Now we're going to do what we've done for every other bag. We're going to just turn in our handles and top stitch around. So you've seen this already on the other bag. And I will tell you, I got a phone call, and while I was on the phone, I actually finished all the other bags. So as soon as I get around this, we are done. And I will head over. I've actually got them all back there. I will head over and show you all the cute bags that I made today. I think I made 5 bags today. I will meet you over there in just a minute and show you all the cute little bags that we've got done today. All right, around the handles we go. Aren't they cute? Look at these bags. I'll put my crochet down in here. And it slides in like that. We have one very cute little bag. So here's one. This is the round bottom one. And this one I did put, flip it around. You can see how quickly it can be totally reversible. This one has the little pocket. I put the tag on the pocket on this one. This is the round bottom larger one. And I have seen people walking around with these like this and like crocheting out of them. Isn't that cute? Yeah, I can see doing that. So here's the round bottom one. Here is a little bit smaller of the round bottom. This is the one that I just showed you. I did not put a pocket in this one. Again, can be completely reversible. I stuff all of these with a skein of yarn because it makes them a little fuller. So this one could easily be the white polka dot on the outside. Now I did not interface any of these, so you could definitely interface them if you want them a little stiffer. This one that has the bandana fabric, and it does have a little pocket in it. I like this fabric, that fabric a lot. And then I have two of these smaller ones. These are the ones that have the little flat bottoms. These stand up nice. You can see the size. Isn't that cute? And these are both lined in polka dot, so the polka dot could be on the outside instead. This is my sister's fabric from QT. So these are the 5 little bags that I made today. Aren't they cute? I think they're adorable. Well, thanks for sewing with me, everyone, with this fun little quick project. I do think these would be very cute. I could see adding a little bow to the front and making it like a little present and putting a gift on the inside. Super cute for that. And you can definitely adjust the size according to the thing you're giving. And then it's a double gift. You don't have wrapping paper. Instead, they have a reusable little bag, and they have their gift on the inside. I love to give things like that. I will have linked below my holiday playlist and the one where I did the drawstring bags if you're interested in that. And anything else that I mentioned in here, I'll link it below if you want to go back and watch it. Okay, the whole reason I wanted one for myself is so I could do this. I can crochet on the go. Feeds it right out. It's so easy to work with it. And I can crochet and go. I can walk. I could walk and crochet with this. Everything here came out of my stash, was a project that I've used for something else, and I got to use up a bunch of my scraps. I love a scrap busting project. Let me know if you've made one of these before or if you plan on making these. Don't forget you can go back and screenshot the picture of all of the measurements if you want to draw out your own, or just go order you a pattern. And I'll see you next week for another fun video.